Hello everyone, and welcome to the video notes for Unit 2, Day 1. Today is the first day of our new unit, and today we're going to be working on dividing fractions by a whole number. So whole numbers are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And today's video is dedicated to Nelson in 6A. Hi Nelson. And so for this first part, on your own, you were just making a guess as to how to write a division statement for each of these. So 8 gallons of batter, so we start with 8, and we're pouring it equally into 4 bowls, so we're dividing it into 4 different parts, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Alright, and then let's go on to number 2. 1 gallon of batter, so we start with 1, is poured equally, so we're dividing it into 4 bowls, so we're splitting one whole into 4 parts. How many gallons of batter are in each bowl? 1/4 of the batter, 1/4 of a gallon is going to be in each bowl. On to number 3. 3 gallons of batter are what we start with, and 3 gallons are poured equally, so we're dividing the 3 gallons into 4 bowls. And so 3 divided by 4 is the same thing as 3/4, or 3/4. So there's 3/4 of a gallon in each bowl. If you got all those right, 3 gold stars to you. All right, next, write a multiplication sentence for each one. So 1/4 of an 8-gallon pail is poured out. So this is the same thing as starting with 8, and then if we're taking 1/4 of that, we're multiplying 8 times 1/4. And 8 is the same thing as 8/1. And then we can multiply across when we multiply fractions. So 8 times 1 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. And then 8/4, we can simplify that to 2. Or 8 divided by 4 is 2. Next one, 1/4 of a 1-gallon pail is poured out. So we have 1, and we're taking 1/4 of that. Okay, so we're multiplying by 1/4. We can rewrite 1 as 1/1. That's the same thing. Multiply the numerators. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Okay. 1/4 of a 3-gallon pail is poured out. So we start with 3, multiplying the 3 times 1/4. We can rewrite 3 as 3/1, 3 wholes. 3 times 1 is, multiplying the numerators now, 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, so now if you look across, you might notice the pattern we have going here. And what we've figured out here, which is going to be our big idea, is that dividing by 4 is the same as multiplying by 1/4. So dividing a number by 4 is the same as multiplying by 1/4. Or another way we can put this in general terms is dividing by some number b. So if you do a divided by b, that's the same thing as multiplying a times 1/b. That's going to help us when we're dividing fractions. Now let's put this into action as we do example 1. Let's read the problem. 3/4 gallon of butter, okay, is poured equally into 2 bowls. So it's poured equally into 2 bowls. And now it's asking us how many gallons of butter are in each bowl. I'll double underline that because that's what we're trying to figure out. So first it's asking us, how can we put this situation into a division sentence? Well, we're starting with how much? 3/4 of a gallon. And then it's being poured equally, so we're splitting it. We're dividing the 3/4 into how many parts? 2 parts. So 3/4 divided by 2 equals what? That's what we're trying to figure out. So there's 2 ways we can figure this out. We can draw a diagram or write a multiplication sentence. Let's start with the diagram. So 3/4, let's draw that out. Okay, so 1 whole would be all of this. Let's make this a nice tall rectangle like this. And 3/4, so let's split it into fourths going this way. Let's draw 3 lines to split it into fourths. And now we have 4/4, and of these fourths, we want 3 of them. So let's shade in 3/4 right here. Here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So all of this right here is 3/4. And then we're taking this 3/4 and we're dividing it into 2 equal sections. So to divide it, we're going to draw a line to split this in half, and we're going to split it going this way. So if we drew the first lines going vertically, which is like this, we're going to draw the splitting line going horizontally, which is like this. So 3/4, and then we're going to split it in 2. We split it in 2, so now we only want 1/2 like that. And we just want this part. So now let's see what we have. We're just taking these 3. So now there's 3 out of, and you want to see how many total squares are there now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when you take 3/4 and you split it into 2, each part is the same thing as 3/8 of the original whole. So 3/4 divided by 2 is equal to 3/8. So that's one way. Another way that you can figure out is if 3/4 divided by 2, right, and we go back to our big idea, if A divided by B is equal to A times 1 over B, then 3/4 divided by 2 is the same thing as 3/4 times 1 over 2, or 1/2. So dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. And then from here, we can multiply across. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 2 is 8. And look at that. Got the same answer. Okay. So now, what we're going to do for example 2 is I'm going to get you started and then you're going to figure it out on your own. So 2/3 pan of lasagna is shared equally by 3 friends. So you're going to start with 2/3 and then divide it into 3 parts. Here we divided it into 2 parts. You're going to start with 2/3 and divide it into 3 parts. So with that, I'm going to have you pause the video and then try example 2 on your own and resume the video after you've finished. Do that now. Pause. Alright, now you are resuming the video and checking your work to see how we did.
Okay, no more playing around.
Our division sentence. 2/3 is what we start with. And we're sharing it equally, so we're dividing it into 3 parts. And that's what we're trying to figure out. So let's draw out 2/3. A nice, big, tall rectangle here. 2/3. Okay, there's my thirds. We want 2 of these. And then, so that's 2/3. And we want to split this into 3 equal parts. So, we're going to do one line going this way, and another line going this way. So now we split all of this into 3 parts going this way. And we want one of these sections. So you can see here that one section is going to be worth 1/3, because here's all of this is 1/3, all of this is 1/3, and all of this is 1/3. And we just want one of those. So we split it into thirds, and we just want one of them. So there's 2 parts here. So we want those 2 out of the whole. So we count how many parts are in the whole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2/9. So when we take 2/3 and split that into 3 parts, each part is going to have 2/9. So each friend gets 2/9 of the pan. Let's check our work with a multiplication. We start with 2/3. We're dividing it by 3, which is the same thing as multiplying by 1/3, or 1/3. Okay, multiply across. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 3 is 9. There we go. Those match up, and we're all good. And with that, you may log out, close your computer, and if you finished early, you may start your homework.